Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of the most legendary partnerships in all of tango, the two angels. You had the maestro, Ángel D'Agostino, on piano and leading the orchestra, and then you had the unforgettable voice of Ángel Vargas. Together, they created a sound that, honestly, still defines tango for so many dancers all over the world. But here's the thing that's so interesting about them. Back in tango's golden age, the 1940s, their orchestra wasn't really considered the most complicated or the most revolutionary. And they didn't have that kind of crazy pop star following that some of their rivals did. So that leaves us with the big question, right? If they weren't the biggest and they weren't the most critically acclaimed, what was their secret? What was that special magic that made their work so timeless, so essential? Okay, so let's start by looking at this paradox, their really unique spot in the very crowded, star-studded world of Golden Age tango. To really get D'Agostino, you gotta picture the scene. You had orchestras like Trilo and Di Sarli, and they were celebrated for their incredible musical complexity. Then, on the other end, you had Juan D'Arienzo, the king of the beat, who was just a massive, massive commercial phenomenon. D'Agostino's orchestra, it was something different. It was loved for its simple elegance and just its perfect taste, earning this deep, lasting respect from dancers for decades to come. And that respect from the dancers, that's really the first huge clue to their magic. It all comes down to D'Agostino's core belief system. And to understand D'Agostino, you really have to understand this one word, milonguero. See, a milonguero isn't just a fan. They are a true devotee of the dance floor. This is someone who lives and breathes tango inside the milongas, those legendary dance halls of Buenos Aires. And you don't have to take my word for it. D'Agostino tells us everything right here. He said, "I am a milonguero." He wasn't writing music for a concert hall. He was creating it for the couple on the dance floor. Every single choice he made, that super clear rhythm, that deep respect for the melody, it was all designed for one thing, to make the dancing feel better, easier, and more connected. But D'Agostino's dancer-first orchestra was only half of the story. The real magic, the explosion, happened when the other Ángel arrived, the singer who would literally become the soul of the orchestra. And this is where Ángel Vargas comes in. He wasn't just some other singer. He was the voice of a very specific time and a very specific place. To be called the symbol of porteño phrasing, well, that meant he captured the authentic feel, the slang, the heart and soul of Buenos Aires in every single word he sang. His style was this amazing mix. The phrasing was reo and compadrito, a little bit street smart, a little slick, but always, always delivered with incredible class. He didn't have a giant booming voice, but it was so masculine and had this sweetness to it. And his personality, he was just off the charts. People felt a connection with him because he just felt so real. So you've got the master of the dance rhythm on one side and the absolute voice of the city on the other. When they finally came together, well, that's when something truly special happened. They actually first crossed paths way back in 1932, but their legendary run really kicked off in 1940. That's when they signed a record deal. And for 6 straight years, they were just on fire, creating this iconic sound before it all came to a sudden end in 1946. And in that short 6-year window, their creative chemistry was just incredible. They recorded, get this, 96 songs. I mean, think about that. An insane output of classic tangos, and almost every single one of them is an absolute gem to dance to. And this is how they became what one critic called one of the most perfect mechanisms which tango had. It's such a great description. D'Agostino was the conductor, laying down that rhythmic foundation with his piano's gentle strength and his clean, simple arrangements. And Vargas? He wasn't just a singer on top of the music. He became what D'Agostino himself called the privileged instrument of the orchestra. His voice was woven right into the fabric of the sound, delivering all that porteño soul. This perfect fit, this incredible synergy, it just created something that was truly unrepeatable. A magic that you can still feel today. And this is why all these decades later, you can walk into any milonga, anywhere on the planet, And I promise you, you are going to hear D'Agostino and Vargas. DJs love them for very practical reasons. The music just has this warm, romantic vibe. Every track is perfectly danceable. The rhythm is clear, the mood is right, and honestly, the sound quality on the original recordings is just fantastic. It just works every time. After Vargas left in 1946, D'Agostino's orchestra continued, of course, but the magic, it was gone. It was a perfect, delicate balance between two artists who are at the absolute top of their game. And once that connection was broken, it could never really be put back together. Which kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. The story of the two angels is really a story about that rare, lightning-in-a-bottle moment when two talents just click perfectly. It makes you wonder, can that kind of perfect artistic chemistry ever truly be replaced?